Hello guys, this is Imran from Imstech and welcome to the beginner's guide to Cinema 4D. And what I'm going to be doing in this tutorial series is going to be covering hopefully as much of Cinema 4D as I can possibly cover, and there is a lot because it's quite an in-depth piece of software. But what I'm going to be doing is the strategy I'm going to be using is going to be actually doing different tasks and different activities, and hopefully by giving you guys small bits of knowledge, small activities, we should be able to understand generally what Cinema 4D is about and also what it's capable of doing. So yeah, I'm not going to specifically go through each thing in this tutorial, but step by step over the series, we should cover as much as I can possibly cover. So let's just get straight to it. The first thing I want to talk to you guys about is this is a 3D piece of software, so you'd be generating motion graphics using the 3D tools. And so at the moment you can see there's a green arrow pointing up, that's the y-axis. We've got the red one on the floor, which is the x-axis, and those are the usual ones when we're drawing bar graphs and so on. But there's an additional axis I want to talk to you guys about is the z-axis. Yeah, and which is the blue one on the ground. So that's the 3 dimension, or the third dimension. Okay, so now just to maneuver around our screen, so you can see I'm going zooming in and out, and I'm doing that with the roller thingy-majig on my mouse. We can also do this using the keyboard, and so I'm going to press the 1 button on my keyboard, and then I'm going to click and move. So you can see I can sort of move around my arena or my stage, and then I'm going to press the 2 and see what happens. This is zooming in and out, which I could have done with my rollerball thingy, and 3, it just spins everything around. Okay, so that is the sort of introduction to maneuvering. Now the task, what we'll do in this task is create 2 objects, the floor and have a ball, and maybe have them bouncing using some of the physics tags. Okay, I think that's quite a cool introduction. So the first thing we need to do is create a floor, and right at the top here I've got this square. If I click and hold, you can see I've got different shapes I can create. Now there's 2 ways of creating a floor. The first one a lot of people like to use the plane, and so you can see I've got the plane that has appeared, just a flat background, sorry, a flat floor. And over here, these orange buttons right here, we've got this one right here. So if I click and I move, I can move, depending on which axes I select, I can move them up and down and so on. I have got the resize one, so if I click on the square right at the edge, or the cube right at the edge, the whole object that I'm selecting will increase or decrease proportionally. And then there is this other button right here, which isn't the big cube at the end, but it's this little cube, which is the orange cube. Hopefully you can see it. My mouse is on it at the moment. If I click and I hold, I can actually just increase that particular size or that particular point. So that's quite a cool thing. And then we've also got the rotate, which is pretty obvious. So I'm going to delete this because I'll show you a better way of creating the floor. Where you see this massive light with 4 arrows, if you click and hold, you can see the floor is there, and I feel that is a better floor because it gives you more of a space. So yeah, that's the first thing. The next thing I'm going to do is create a sphere. So I'm going to click on this square cube, click hold, and I'm just going to press the sphere. Now I need to make the sphere a lot higher, and you can see there's a sphere there. Now what I'm going to do is just render this one keyframe, okay? And rendering is just going to show me how it's going to appear when I export this or render this. And I'm just going to click, and this is the button right here to render. And just to show you guys, we can't see the floor because there's very little lighting, or there's no texture or material, and the ball, it's also not very clear. And also I want to show you guys the black area at the top is actually the sky, which we can edit later on. Okay, so what we need to do is add some material. So at the bottom right here, we've got the materials panel. I'm going to press file and new material, and I'm just going to add this to the floor. And there's also preset material, so I'm just going to click on shader and just try this one, see what this is about. um, yeah, so that's fine. I'm just going to click and drag over onto my ball. Hideous looking one it is, but anyway, so yeah. And oh yeah, just to quickly mention, we've got this object panel right here, so you can see my spheres here and my flow is here, and we've added two elements, the material. So both of the material are present right here, and I can actually just go in and delete the material and obviously go back and add the material rather than pasting it onto the actual front of the object. I can actually put it into the object bar here where you've got the down arrow, and I can just drop it in. um, and if I want to edit the material, I double click and go here, so click and change the color, maybe add a bit of reflection. Can anybody see reflection? It's there, so I've clicked the reflection, and yeah, that's fine. So oh, did I just cross it? Let's render this to see what's what. Okay, so you can see sort of a start has been made. Now, to actually animate this, I'm going to just show you guys these tools right here, the play button. So if I play, nothing happens because we need to add a few more physics tags. And the way that is done is basically, if you just saw me, I just moved the I put some material onto the ball as well there. Apologies for that, for not actually mentioning that. But anyway, what I'm going to do is add some physics to this ball. So I'm going to click on physics and click on simulation, dynamic, and add, create a rigid body. You can see there's different ones, but I'm just going to add a rigid body at the moment. And I'm going to hit the play button just to show you guys see what happens. I press play and it goes straight through the flow. So obviously you probably guessed it, I need to add a rigid body to the ground as well. I'm going to hit the play button and let's see, boom. So it hits the floor, bounces twice, and it comes back up. I just want to show you guys, when I added the rigid body, these two elements will also appeared next to the object, okay? And the properties and all the settings are there on the bottom. This changes depending on what I've selected, where I'm moving my mouse at the moment. So what I want to do now is just add a bit of bounce to the flow. So I'm just going to click on the flow object and then this rigid body tag that we added to the flow. I'm going to increase the bounce to 200. Just going to go a little bit crazy with this and hit the enter key. And I'm going to just play this, sorry, go all the way to the back and play this. Now you can see this is bouncing nicely. And and what I want to mention to you guys right at the bottom is this timeline. These are actually frames, or um, they're not actually representing a second. We could have 30 frames a second when we render this, so 30 frames of this would be 1 second. So you can imagine this is, every frame is like, a very, very a minute amount. If you want to increase your frame, so at the moment right here it's 90, I can just press 500, hit the enter key, and then you can also move across the timeline using this. So I'm just going to hit the play button and bounce, bounce, bounce. Okay, so I've covered a few things, just start of a warm-up activity, really, just an introduction of what Cinema 4D is about, what it can do, what it can't do. I've given you a lot of information, really, and what I'll try to do in the next tutorial is cover the basics of animation, which is also very in detailed, but we'll cover the basics. So make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, and I do intend to create a lot of tutorials on this, and I'll try and make them small bites of learning. This just because this was an introduction, it was a little bit longer, but small bites of learning, mini tasks, mini objectives, and we'll go through from there. So make sure you guys let me know what you thought of the tutorial, and make sure you subscribe. Take care.